know we're hitting them where it hurts when the propagandistic news media, CBC, CTV, start crying like a bunch of babies. And it is unbelievable. Since Pierre Poilievre went on the Northern Perspective podcast and talked about what a travesty it was that Justin Trudeau is never charged criminally for his role in the SNC-Lavalin scandal chiefly, but also obviously the We Charity scandal, the Green Slush Fund scandal, so many scandals, it's tough to name them all. Clearly the most corrupt prime minister we've ever had, but specifically regarding the SNC-Lavalin scandal, where he leaned on Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould not to prosecute SNC-Lavalin, despite the fact they had clearly taken $49 million from Gaddafi. Clear corruption. Trudeau leaned on him and never got charged by the RCMP. Poilievre went on the Northern Perspective podcast and talked about what a disgrace it was that the RCMP never charged Trudeau, and the fact that the RCMP is clearly in the pocket of the Liberal Party of Canada, which is, it's just blatantly clear. The buddy-buddy relationships the RCMP chiefs have with the heads of the Liberal Party, it was pathetic. The head of the RCMP out with Mark Carney yesterday, all buddy-buddy chummy. Law enforcement in this country is a total joke. As everybody knows, criminals roam free, which makes sense for the Liberal Party, whereas law-abiding Canadians are gone after all the time. So Poilievre called it out, and they have been melting down on the CBC like never before. It's so beautiful to watch. They see that $1.5 billion they steal from Canadian taxpayers every year going down the drain, because they have been whining and crying about this, trying to defend Trudeau's corruption like never before. It is true meltdown after meltdown. David Cochrane, I don't know how they expect Canadians to watch him with a straight face when it is so blatantly obvious they run the defense for the Liberal Party of Canada at every possible opportunity. To recap, the SNC-Lavalin scandal, the RCMP only interviewed 4 of 15 key witnesses, refused to publicize any of the witness testimony, including Jody Wilson-Raybould's testimony, where she makes it explicit that the Justin Trudeau told her not to prosecute SNC-Lavalin, a clear as day breach of Canadian law, and she was explicitly told not to go after Trudeau. The RCMP knew this, and the evidence is overwhelming. It was a stunted investigation. They never wanted to go after Trudeau. Had it been a Conservative, had it been a regular, everyday Canadian, this person would have been in jail for the rest of their life. But due to the fact it's Justin Trudeau, the Teflon man who never gets in trouble for absolutely anything, despite the fact that he is certainly the most corrupt prime minister we've ever had, the destruction of Canada during his 10 years as prime minister, unlike anything we've seen in the Western world. But the RCMP refused to go after him. I don't know the specifics of exactly why that was, but clear corruption, clear as day. Now we have an organization called Democracy Watch, which has gone to the AG and petitioned to have an independent counsel look into Trudeau's illegal activities, and that has just been greenlit. So it's certainly no assurance that anything's going to happen, but good news for Canadians. Justin Trudeau may have to get off his goddamn yacht with Katy Perry. So embarrassing. The man ruins Canada for a decade, and now he's on a yacht with Katy Perry. What an absolute embarrassment. But he may have to get off his yacht with Katy Perry, so we need to keep making noise about this. The evidence is absolutely overwhelming that Trudeau acted illegally and should be prosecuted for his activities during the SNC-Lavalin scandal. Not to mention, I mean, there's the ArriveCan app where the Trudeau greenlit $500 million to build an app that could have been built in a couple hours by a developer, gave out billions of dollars in contracts to 2 guys that he was friends with, and they did barely any work, a 2-man company. Essentially his entire cabinet being made up of the guys that were in the picture from his wedding. Just nepotism and insider dealing like you would never believe. I can only imagine the amount of money that has been stolen from the Canadian taxpayer during Justin Trudeau's terror reign as the Prime Minister of this country. And thank God Pierre is actually not only calling it out, but thank God for alternative media for him to have a space to call this out. Because you can bet your last dollar, before independent media was around, the CBC, CTV, Global News, all these corrupt Canadian organizations would never cover this story for 2 seconds, because they see their golden piggy bank, which is the Liberal Party of Canada, gives them $1.5 billion a year. They see their golden piggy bank going away, and they will defend the Liberal Party at all costs. Just watch the CBC, CTV any time of the day for 10 minutes. I guarantee you they are spewing Liberal talking points. It's incredible. It's without stop. Liberal talking point after Liberal talking point. But you know you've hit a nerve. You know you've hit a nerve when these people are freaking out. And I have not seen the commentators on the CBC freaking out over any issue like they have over Poilievre calling out how disgusting and disreputable it is that the RCMP covered up Trudeau's clear illegality. Like, it's blatantly clear. And not only the SNC-Lavalin scandal, not only the Arrive Can-App scandal, we can talk about the We Charity scandal, where Trudeau, hundreds of millions of dollars to family friends. He went to Aga Khan's for a vacation, except it was worth about $250,000. He spent $225,000 of Canadian taxpayer dollars on that vacation. No repercussions whatsoever. It's indisputable. If you listen to any independent body, this man was clearly the most corrupt man. And it's so ironic how so frequently these people with their woke veneers, the people who try to present themselves as the purveyors of virtue, like Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, very frequently wind up being the most corrupt. And there's not a single doubt that Trudeau was insanely corrupt, and the amount of insider dealing that went on during his time as Prime Minister was shocking. So hopefully we keep the heat on. I mean, it's tough for Canadians to get too excited about the RCMP going after Trudeau, just based on what we've seen for the past decade and how the Liberal scandals seemingly are covered up without a doubt, regardless of how overwhelmingly obvious it is that they have acted corruptly. But the different factor now is that there's podcasts like Northern Perspective with hundreds of thousands of subs that gets hundreds of thousands of views. CBC, CTV, people aren't watching these guys. You watch these guys online, they're getting no views. Nobody's interested. They know they're just straight up propagandists. They know they're getting straight up propaganda. You know, when you tune in, you might as well go to a Liberal Party convention, because that's what you're going to get. You're just going to get the straight up talking points. Whereas if you go online, you're actually going to get people who are critically thinking and asking difficult questions and giving you the perspective of a regular, everyday Canadian rather than a Liberal insider. And that's why I think the tables may have turned, because you can just tell the CBC is so pissed off that they have to cover this stuff. They are so angry. You know you've touched a nerve when the CBC is freaking out, and thank God, it's so great to see them freaking out right now. Love to see it. Please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member. Really appreciate everybody who's become a member. Pick up some gear. Really appreciate it. Or donate. Again, really appreciate everybody who supports me. Thanks so much. And let's keep this story in the news, and we can imagine how beautiful it would be to see Justin Trudeau actually prosecuted and convicted, because there's no doubt in my mind the man acted criminally.